everybody for joining. I know you're busy, and so thanks for taking time out. If you haven't been on my live shows, I do these every Thursday at 1 p.m. California time. And just the reason I do them is to deliver value. Love teaching people the strategies and tools, sales, marketing, branding that I'm using to build out multiple businesses, the things that work for me. And over the years, I've tried a lot and really always fine tuning. And I am the president and founder of Giant Jacks Media, and we are an agency that helps other business owners and businesses and professionals and coaches to sell, market, and brand, stand out, make a lot of noise, be different, and take the strategies that have been so successful for me over the years and implement them in other people's businesses. So one of the things I wanted to mention before I get into this topic, which is awesome, which is integrating your Zoom events with LinkedIn events, is this here. Let me put a graphic up a second here, or caption. So as I mentioned, for years now, I've been building out multiple businesses, a lot of success, really embracing the tools and strategies that are unique, that help me to stand out at the companies that I'm building, and uh, tried a lot, failed a lot, succeeded a lot, always fine tuning, always have my thumb on the pulse of what's working, and just insane about that, in efficiencies and identifiable processes, repeatable processes. And what I've done recently is I finally have organized all of my pieces for the sales and marketing foundation I use, that I've created, the execution, the tools, the strategies, and I put them into a what I call my master class, a giant master class, where I teach you what I've learned over the years and what I'm using right now, and it's 100% free. And what you want to do to get access to it is to text Giant Help to 474747. It's a class. You can pick a time to watch it whenever you want, but I just pull the curtain on what I'm doing. And what I'm talking about today is a piece of what I do on the execution phase and the build out, but I put it all into that class. So hope you can check that out. Giant Help. It doesn't matter if it's small cap or large cap, but if you text that, you'll get instructions on how to access that class. Let me hide that. I'll bring that up again towards the end. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen here because I want to talk about the setup here. All of us obviously are on Zoom these days, and maybe most of you or some of you are using LinkedIn events. It's an incredible feature, and LinkedIn really put a microscope on that feature. It used to be really mainly for live events, and if you were doing an online event, it was kind of clunky and didn't work so well. You could do it, but it was sort of trying to cobble it together. But they completely revamped LinkedIn events, and it works great for online. And so when I'm counseling and working and teaching people that are also wanting to grow, what I tell them is you first want to create your show when you start doing events. And let me share the screen here because I want to show you this. Share screen. Give me a second here. Okay. Okay. Well, let me just make sure that's working. Hang on. Stop sharing. Give me 1 second here. Chrome tab. Okay. Well, hang on one sec. Pardon my. Get this down. Give me one sec here. Get rid of all those. Ay, ay, ay. Chrome tab. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So what you want to do here is I'm just going to show you this slide. Is create your own show before you start doing your Zoom events, and this is a great strategy. And when I talk about creating your own show, this would be maybe you do it once a month, maybe every couple of months. You could do it weekly. For instance, this is my weekly show. And the reason you want to create a show is because you start to train your audience on the consistency of your show. So if you're doing it, for instance, I do it every week on Thursday, let's say you do it once a month, you start to train your audience to expect your show and and to become used to it, familiar with it, and you can start to build your audience because they'll start showing up to your Zoom events. And when I say your show, think of a TV show. That's why I have the TV here. When they do a TV show, they have the same day, same time, and they have a brand around it, which is, creating a brand idea around your show. My show is Giant TV, one of my shows. And when you do this, what also happens is you can uh, market around your show. When you set it up ahead of time, you can market on LinkedIn. You can market using, email campaigns and so forth. And so it just really works well to have that consistent show. And your show can be anything. It can be you delivering value. You can have guests on your show. The only limits to your show are the limits of your imagination. But the idea is to create something personal to you that's delivering high value to the people you're talking to. And that's your show. And then uh, what you also want to do after you create your show is now you have that. And now here's the setup for your LinkedIn event Zoom integration. First of all, you want to create your Zoom webinar. So you got to have a Zoom webinar to create this. So go in there, schedule it out, create your Zoom webinar. Then you also want to create an Eventbrite page because you're going to direct people from your LinkedIn event to sign up for Zoom, but it's going to be done through Eventbrite. And when you set these up, you want to make sure in Zoom that you make registration a requirement. So they've got to register for the event. And then when they go to Eventbrite, some really cool things happen. I got my notes here. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. But and I'm going to show you this when we get into my LinkedIn account and setting up the event. I'll show you exactly how this works. But when they sign up for your event, they're going to go to the Eventbrite landing page, right? Because you don't want them signing up through the LinkedIn event right to Zoom because Zoom doesn't have a nice looking landing page. It's crappy looking. It's just, sign up here and there's a little summary there. So you want to have a nice looking place that they go to once they sign up on LinkedIn. And Eventbrite is great and it integrates with Zoom. And so when somebody goes to your Eventbrite and you make that page look pretty, what will happen is if they register through Eventbrite, they'll automatically be registered on Zoom. So it's a really cool integrated feature there. And you can also create your own landing page if you want to go kind of another step. We use ClickFunnels to create some really great landing pages where people are taken to that landing page. That's sort of another step. But Eventbrite can work great, and Eventbrite is free, so love that. And then what you want to do is when you're setting up this whole system is you want to make sure to automate the email collection. So this is one of the great things about people signing up for Zoom and through Eventbrite is you're collecting the name and the email address. And we all have to treat an email like a piece of gold, because you can nurture that person when you collect the email. So you want to automate the collection. And so through apps like Zapier and other integrations, you can take the email once they register and just automatically put it into your email nurture campaign. So for us, it's constant contact, and the emails automatically go in there, and then we have high value nurture emails to continue to educate, build rapport that go out through constant contact. So you want to set up the automation piece as part of the setup for this whole system of using Zoom and LinkedIn events. So now you've created your show, you've got the setup done. Now it's the hype of your show. So this is the marketing of it. This is the other thing that's really great when you have a set show, you have time to plan it, set it up, and here is where you can hype the show. And the way you can hype it or market it is an email campaign, right? So if as part of your build, are collecting emails and you have an email nurture campaign, which again is kind of a great thing to have, part of our toolbox, and you then can send out an email telling people about your event coming up, your LinkedIn event, and you direct them, to that site. So you include the link to your LinkedIn event, and they can sign up that way. So you market it through email, you market it through posting on social. So you have, time in advance to market it that way. Create some real nice pieces and post about your event coming up, which does a lot of things. It not only it hypes the event, gets people to sign up, but also just makes you stand out and you're doing something unique and different. It creates a lot of noise around you. So you want to create some marketing, social posting on LinkedIn. Maybe you have other sites. Maybe you have LinkedIn group or Facebook company pages. Here, LinkedIn groups, another great strategy that I go into in my toolbox about setting up your own LinkedIn group and inviting the right people to that group. It's great tool. Texting. So this is another way to market your event. Maybe you're using a texting app. Texting has become huge, and there's some really great apps out there. I use Easy Text, but you can send an alert to your group that receives your text messages and hype the event that way leading up to it. And then previous events on LinkedIn that you may have done in the events feature. I'm going to show you how to hype it to previous events where people signed up, and now you can hype your new event to them. Okay. So now you got a little bit of the setup there. Let's get into actually showing you the event here, how to set it up, and best practices. Okay. Go to my LinkedIn site and share. Go back. Okay. So I'm going to move this in a little closer here. Go to my LinkedIn site, and you can all see it. Okay. So you're on your site. And for those of you who know some of this, bear with me, but I'm just going to run through it. So on the left-hand side is a window pane there, and you want to scroll down, and you see, your groups and so forth. And here's your event section. Okay, you can see I've had multiple events. So I'll just do a test event here. So you click the plus sign, and now this comes up. And what you want to make sure you do is to tailor this page as best you can with what LinkedIn allows you to do. So here, you can upload an image. I'll just choose, picture, not necessarily that fits this. So then you put your image in, you can kind of move it around. I'll just apply that. And on that banner image, a couple things there. One is you can have the same image you use every time for your events. Maybe you have this show, you have a brand around it, you have a banner around it, and you just want to be consistent. So it's your logo banner, and you just use the same banner every time. Or you can customize a banner each time for the show. I tend to use the same banner every time that I've created. And tools like Canva, of course, are great tools to create banners and so forth. And if you have really focused on your personal brand and you've built that out, you're going to have a color scheme, font, a style that matches your brand. And so you'll want to incorporate that into everything that you're doing, your banners and your messaging and all that. So this banner would be in line with your brand that's consistent across your all your channels. So you customize that, and then you can also upload a photo in here. I'll just apply that for the sake of this test here. So different schools of thought there. My brand is Giant TV, so I tend to put that in a lot of different places. You can put your photo up there. But I always recommend, if you're going to create a show and create some branding around that, create a unique logo for that, and you can use it there. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is the event name. Now, this is really important, and think about this event name and the summary we're going to talk about as you would an email. If you're using email nurture, we all have the same challenges with email. We're trying to get people to open the emails, to click on it, to look, trying to entice them. So this event name, I compare to like an email subject line, because it's the first thing that people are going to see. Is they're going to be invited to the event, and they're going to see this event name, and you want to get them curious and get them to click on it and sign up. So this is where you really got to be creative and go to your resources about subject lines that work to motivate people. And you can do a lot in the subject line. You've got 75 characters here. Now, people aren't going to see all 75 when they get invited, but you can put emojis in here. Emojis can be good tools to grab somebody's attention. I'll just put test in here right now because I got to put something. But spend time and on the subject line, obviously relate it to the event, but hype people up that way. Okay, now you get to organizer, and you can run your event from your personal page or a company page. And I tend to use my personal page because I'm really, always working on developing my personal brand. And I just want to continue to focus on that. And so I run it from my personal page. Now, if you don't have a company page, that's another component of your build out is getting a company page, because interesting things you can do there. But run it from your personal page. And is this an online event? Yes. So this is new since not too long ago, because these used to be just for live events. But make sure that toggle's clicked over. Yes, live event. Okay. Broadcast link, for our purposes, what we're doing now, you can ignore that. Obviously, put the time zone up here. Click on that. We'll just do a test here, Friday from 3 to 4. Okay. Now you get to description. And you can see here you've got 5,000 characters, or you can leave a description. So there's a lot of room. What I suggest you do is take this off of the site, go Google Doc it, and you have more space there. It's easier. It's kind of clunky to type in here, but go and really spend some time on your description, because this is where people get invited. They'll see the subject line, and then they'll be able to click to read more. And this is important. You want to tell a story as much as you can here. You want to make it enticing, and refer it back to the event, but tell people what they're going to get in this summary. Really focus on the value that you're going to deliver here and why it's important for them. And uh, the more kind of niche focused you can make events to a certain extent. Maybe you can't always do that, but the more niche it is, the more you can talk about the value for that specific niche. Maybe your niche is dentists, and you're doing an event for managing dental practices, and you can really get niche in here on what's great about managing a dental practice and why they should watch that. So you do that off Google Doc it, and then copy and paste it into here. 5,000 characters. Speakers, I don't use speakers. This is if you've got somebody else in your network that you're going to be speaking with, you can tag them and so forth. Okay, so ticketing website. This is where you would put the landing page website, whether it's Eventbrite or your own landing page, and you just paste it in there, and this is where they're gonna click on it to go sign up, and it'll take them over to Eventbrite. So this is where you put that, and then, well, actually, I gotta type something in here, otherwise it won't let me go on. Test summary. Okay. You want to make it a public event as opposed to private, and now we create it. Excuse me. Okay. This is the default. This is what happens. And you can see how LinkedIn generates this. It pulls in the banner and the little logo there. And that's why you got to make these banners right so that these things don't overlap. But this is pretty interesting right here. There's some value to using this in that LinkedIn doesn't like outside links, right? So if you post a video on LinkedIn and you use a YouTube link, or maybe you're posting a link to an article or something, we all know LinkedIn doesn't like that. They don't like people leaving the platform to go look at other things. They want to keep people in the LinkedIn ecosystem there. And so what this does is it keeps it all in the LinkedIn ecosystem, and where you can not have to take people off the site. It's a post that will show up in your feed, and what you can do here is you can delete this, and you can then type in whatever you want here, and it's a great little post. And what will happen then is the algorithm will help to push this out, because it senses that it's within the LinkedIn system, and you'll get some good visibility there, and they can just click right on here to view the event and get in there. So I'm not going to post this now because it's a test. I'll discard it. Okay, so now we have the event here. This is what shows up. So what do you do now is you want to invite your connections. So you can invite your first level connections. And this gets in to the strategy of really building out your community on LinkedIn of first level connections, is have a process that you're running that allows you to reach out and connect with more and more people, because the bigger community you have, good things happen. And it's not necessarily that everybody you connect with needs to be a potential prospect. Could be spheres of influence, but also I'm of the mindset that we all got to make a lot of noise on this platform and others. And if you have a big community there, where you're making a lot of noise, people are commenting, it brings other people in to check you out. And I make the comparison of driving down a street with a bunch of busy a busy street with a bunch of restaurants on it, and there's one restaurant that's got a line with 20 people out in front, and all the rest other restaurants have no line, and there just is this activity going on around this one restaurant. There's a buzz, it's noisy, people are out front, and lights are inside, and people are inside, stuff's going on. If you're driving down new to the town, which restaurant do you think you're going to want to check out? You're going to want to check out the one with the line in front. The other ones that are empty, you're like, okay, well, it doesn't look so good. Think of LinkedIn in the same way. Create noise around yourself, and the right people are going to be attracted to you and want to check out your stuff. So get first level connections. So now you invite your connections, click on here. And this is interesting, very interesting, because LinkedIn allows you to filter a little bit here, and you can see the filters up here. You can search by name and invite people, but what I tend to use is industries. So if I click on industries, some of these pop up. You can type in an industry, but let's say, for example, one of the companies I'm building is a asset protection, estate planning, business planning law firm, and property owner. People who are involved in real estate, property owners, realtors are, people I want to be networked with and communicate with. So I have had a plan to connect with those people as part of my building of my community on LinkedIn. So I have quite a few people in real estate and adding more all the time that I'm connected to. So if I click on real estate, and you don't want to click on multiple industries at one time, because then the filter will include all of those and reduce your subset there. But if I just do real estate, then all the people that are connected to real estate show up, and now I can invite all these people and just click on these, boom, boom, and you invite. Okay, and they'll get the invitation. Now, what I have not been able to see is any limitation in the amount of people that you can invite. I haven't seen that anywhere. I haven't been prevented from inviting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. And so I don't think there's a limit. So that's great. So then once you invite all those people, your real estate, you want to clear it, and maybe you want to do another industry, or maybe you want to do geography. You're targeting a certain area. So you go through there, pick out the industries you're focused on, and start inviting, all those people. And this goes to, again, your first level connections. Now, what I was going to tell you too is that when these people get invited, the invite is going to show up in the My Network section. So to the event. So this is where connection requests and invites to events show up here. There'll be a notification up here, just like I have these here. There'll be one up here. So that's where these people will get invited. So now you invite connections that way. And what you also do is, well, I'll get to that in a second. I want to run through this other piece here. Okay, so now you've invited connections. And when people start signing up, what's really cool is you can see the attendees right here. So you'll see the people that signed up. So you can track it and understand what's going on. The other thing is that in a LinkedIn event, that you've got its own news feed here in the LinkedIn event. So as people start to show up, and this I don't know many people that have discovered this feature. It's pretty incredible. As people start to show up, you can, in this section, hype the event. So you will start a conversation in here, and I like video. So I'll record a video and just I'll go to my mobile phone. I'll pull up the event on my mobile phone, and I will record a video right there on my mobile phone, hyping the event, telling them how great it's going to be, what they're going to get from it, and I'll post that video. It shows up in this news feed, and now what LinkedIn allows you to do is LinkedIn allows you to recommend that post. And so when you put a post in, it'll ask you if you want to recommend it. And you can do that 2 times a week leading up to the event. And LinkedIn will send a push notification to everyone who has signed up that you posted. And not only will it show up in their notifications tab here, LinkedIn will also send them an email, an email from the person's LinkedIn to their inbox, and they'll get an email. And so there's not many places where LinkedIn sends out a push notification for anything. It's not like you put a post in your regular news feed and you can alert people. It's whoever sees it sees it. Here, people get it. And you may have gotten them from me leading up to this event. It's a really, really cool feature. In addition to you being able to do that, again, 2 times per week leading up to the event, you can also, or I should say, LinkedIn will also send out 3 notifications to all attendees. Just LinkedIn automatically does it 7 days prior, 3 days prior, and 15 minutes prior to the event. And again, it will show up in their notifications, and they will get an email notification. So very, very cool how that happens, and they're reminders for people. Okay. So got that, notifications. Okay, so now what happens is what you can also do as far as pushing out notifications and marketing this event, which I mentioned on that slide, previous events. So as you do previous events, and let me go, you see this one is test. Let me show you here. So I'll go to my events down here, show more, and let's go to one I did previously. Okay, so here's over 100 people on this one. This was leveraging virtual events. What I can do in here is actually, and you can see it here, is you can send out a hype on your next event in your previous event. So now I have all these people that signed up. I know they were interested. Maybe they signed up for the new one, maybe not. I don't know. But I can go in here, hype it up, and then I can recommend in that event page out to those people who signed up for an event 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, so forth. I can also recommend it to them there. So it's very, very cool the way you can do that. Another little trick of the trade there. Okay, so if I go back to the test event, there it is. Okay, so now I'm back here. So now what happens is you have this event up, you've set your show up, you've marketed the event, you're inviting other people, you're getting people to attend and show up, and you are messaging them, you're hyping the event. You also can ask your attendees to invite their connections, so you can post in the event a motivation for them to invite others, so you can get kind of that piggyback effect going on. And so then people are going to come to your event, they're going to sign up, and remember, they're registering for Zoom. So now you've got all this packaged together, you're marketed this event, now you go and you're going to do your Zoom. So the key is on the other side of doing the Zoom is you want to make sure and record that piece of content. And what I say is, as you start doing these, you create a show and you're consistent with them, I wouldn't worry about who's showing up to these things. I wouldn't worry about, having a bunch of people show up, because there's so much benefit to doing this regardless of whether a lot show up or not. Now, the idea is to get more and more people to show up, but initially, before you have had a chance to nurture, get people used to it and build your audience and cultivate and do all those things, you might not get a lot of people. When I started doing these LinkedIn Lives, now I've got LinkedIn Live, which is a little bit different, but same concept. I had one or two people show up in the first one. I did it anyways. Then I had 20 people, then 50, then 100, and I kept building, and I'm creating consistency. But what you get out of it, regardless of who shows up initially, is you record on Zoom, and then you want to edit that video, and you've got a great piece of content that then you can repurpose everywhere. You can cut that content up into a podcast, audio for your podcast. Again, part of my toolbox. If you text that number, you'll see in that toolbox class, you'll see that that's part of it. But you can repurpose to podcast, to a blog that you send out when you record that video. That video can be posted on your channels, on LinkedIn for sure. And that's why you want to do this and record it. That's great content. That content can be used over and over. You put it up on your YouTube library, and it just is an evergreen piece of content. Depending on what you're talking about, you can use over and over. So you want to record it, and I would say get into the process here of doing events, connecting with Zoom, collecting the email addresses, all those things I talked about. And you'll see as you do this more and more that you will build an audience, people will get used to it, and then your creative juices start flowing. You start thinking of ideas that provide a lot of value that you can come up with and deliver to the people that are your A-list prospects and people you want to communicate with. Let me see if I've left anything out here. Let me put up one more time. Make sure you get this. For those of you that maybe jumped on later, this is if you text giant help to 474747. This is a master class. It's an auto webinar class I put together, taken my sales and marketing toolbox and put it in here. You can watch it at your convenience, and it's totally free. And I love showing people what I do, pulling the curtain, and you can get access to it here. So to wrap up here, definitely incorporate LinkedIn events. If you're using Zoom, it's great. If you don't have LinkedIn Live, I would apply for that too. If you have questions on anything here, you can always DM me, go to, directly on LinkedIn, and happy to answer what's going on with your own business. Take a look at it, give you a complimentary strategy session with me, and be great to share some insight with you. So there you go. I hope you found some nuggets in there on doing the sites. I think I covered it all, and look forward to staying in touch with you, and we'll see you next time.